Welcome back to News Insights. The activities of discourse in Nigeria has been very appalling. Very, very appalling. We reported to you some days back of how the cable that supply Aso Villa, Aso Rock, the 3-arm zone, Maitama and other places in Abuja, 40-meter long, was stolen. Not only that, the epileptic nature of power supply, horrible, in the whole nation, all this goes involved. The National Electric Regulatory Agency, NEC, has virtually looked as if they don't do anything. Philip, what we used to call NEPA, never expect power always.
You see, this is Nigeria. Each day we keep talking about development. We keep talking about how we become an advanced country, how we'll be industrialized. It baffles me because even the world itself, God never industrialized the world, created the world without light. If you look at the history of the world creation, the world became into existence when light came into being.
Bible says God said, and let there be light, and there was light.
And that was where life started existing. Here we are in Nigeria. We are a nation endowed with both human and natural resources, prepared by God to grow, to advance, and to rule the world. But we don't have light. That means we are not yet prepared. Because all of this, Oshiomhole, Adams Oshiomhole, in his good old days, is a man we believe in. He speaks the truth and he fights for the right of the common man. Even though he has become a bourgeois, that spirit is still in him. It hasn't left him. That's what played out in the Senate in recent time. He has come to say that, look, the so-called privatization of NEPA had not helped us in any way.
And balkanized into discourse.
He said, when you compare this to 90, you will see that the NEPA is zero. So that since we have not achieved anything, it's either we review it or we give it outright cancellation. I want to align myself with what Oshiomhole said.
Our erudite labor leader, Adams Oshiomhole, when he takes on issues, he brings the facts to bear. I mean, he doesn't just talk from nowhere. He's still my man any day, anytime.
If he wants to say the truth.
If he wants to say the truth.
Provided it's outside APC.
Yeah.
But he even ended up saying that let them review to align with the renewed hope of the agenda of the president. So it's still APC.
So he knocked how the discourse were given out, their operational style, Adams Oshiomhole.
Well, you see, I am happy to an extent because this is an issue we've acted on here. Sometimes last year, we talked about it briefly. And then this is an issue that affects all Nigerians. Rather unfortunate, this is a little time we see people we elect into the house trying to represent our interest, not interest of personal interest or political or party interest. And either we like it or not, a lot of us here have come of age to an extent, and then what we used to know those days, the normal NEPA, is far better than what we have today, what Adams Oshiomhole is actually saying. Until some years back, I never knew that Nigerians will have to pay for, buy poles, buy cables, buy transformers, and they automatically become the properties of NEPA. Sorry, permit us using that NEPA because that is a very common language.
I'm sure our viewers understand.
And then funny enough, if you don't buy, there's a place in Biaja Cross, in Kubwa here, under Buhari Area Council here in Abuja, in FCT, that I knew they were out of light for not less than 6 months. Reason was because first, transformer blew. Then the NEPA people came to remove it, they want to come and repair it. It entered story somehow. The locals have to gather money, house by house, to buy this transformer. And for the NEPA people to come and connect it back, they had to gather money and still give them money for connection. Is it the time they'll tell you that they have to buy a transformer oil to service it? Now the question is this. Either you like it or not, there is nothing that happens in Nigeria today that does not have connection with power supply. All right? There's nothing that happens. Our hospitals will not function well. The driver that is supposed to drive out in the morning, park his car, and they come under the darkness of the night to remove his battery. If there is light everywhere, distance reduce. Most times, we all are connected to light and petrol. And so what Oshiomhole have said, I am in full support of it. I don't even know why the Senate is still taking time to revive this thing, because the Nigerians that have been given this thing, like Oshiomhole is making us to understand, which some of us knew before now, what they used to purchase is our money. I
have to stop you there. I will come back to you. Now, there are issues on board. Issues of how the disco got their
how they took over
the stuff, who they allocated it to, their viability. Oshiomhole talked about how they go to the banks, collect the money, and they don't also reinvest. You see, some of the banks have got moribund as a result of the loans they took, and there's nothing on ground to show. All they just do is to collect money. That's the discourse. How do we address this? And don't also forget the fact, what Honorable Eli said just now. They come, you don't have lights, you buy your transformer, you do your poles, everything is by you. Then they now start billing on it. Are there no laws that we can have that whatever you invest, either as an estate or as an individual, will be deducted from the bills that you're going to pay?
Thank you very much. You see why when you were making your statement, I was smiling. Do you know why? It is interesting that now the Senate, for once, acted as a true Senate. But do you know why they acted the way they acted? Because it affected them.
It's touching them.
Because Oshiomhole said, even in the heart of Abuja here,
yes,
I had to procure a transformer for myself.
Yes.
I had to, after much negotiation and lobbying, I had to pay for them to install it, and then after I paid, so it became a hard deck property, and not only that, they still gave me B, and I'll still pay on plan A. You see, and the end of the speech, don't forget that review or whatever, so that we can see how it can align with the new agenda
of the Mr. President. Yes.
See, what is playing out here is this: when you ask the question, are we not worried how this private individual procure money from our banks, from CBN, commercial bank, and even to kill our banks and all of that? Yes, I'm worried. And I'm even more worried, just like the loot recovered by our government. We don't know where they go to. What they do,
yes,
when they recover it, they relooted it.
Yes.
What Oshiomhole is saying, it appears to be in favor of the masses. But the true sense of it is that they want to own this disco now. I can authoritatively say that, because they are not saying it for your interest, because they are not the owners of disco. That is why this thing has come to the fore. Let them review it tomorrow, and whether the method and the means with which they will acquire the disco will be different with what happened in the previous government. If it's different, then you can call me on my word. So what has happened? It is the same system. Yes, you ask of, there are laws there. The laws are clear. Are we implementing laws in this country?
No.
It's not our problem. The problem in this country is implementation. That's why we always said it on this table that, look, we need one good head to lead this country so that we can come out of this wilderness. So whatever they said there is because
they are not participating.
One, it's affecting them. Two, they don't have interest there. Thirdly, they want to have their interest protected by that. They want to have it as part of their investment, part of their estate. You know, Nigeria, they want to conquer Nigeria. You know, they will say, we have captured Edo State, we have captured Edo State. The next state is always capturing until they capture the entire nation.
Okay, Honorable Eli, I quite feel what he's saying. Interest. You know, in politics is interest, majorly. Before you see Americans talking about Nigerians matter, it's because they're interested. There's something for them to benefit. Even at local politics is interest. But do we really care who owns the discourse? What we care about is that there is smooth
They should
running.
be functional.
Yeah, they should be functional.
Yes,
do you understand?
Yes, we care who owns it, who own our private investments. Governments, like we've said here before now, had invested heavily into power. They were calling it NEPA. Few individuals who were close to the government of the day were sold these items to. They went to our banks and collected our money using this as collateral, right? Now, we are expecting by now there should have been serious improvement. And if there was serious improvement, just like there was in telecommunication, when those days you make a hello, your 15 naira was deducted. A second, it was deducted. There was no per second billing, it was per minute billing. And because it was privatized, and then license was given to many others, kudos to Nitel, Airtel, and Globalcom. Globalcom precisely, MTN and Airtel had to come to the level of what they injected into the telecommunication, and we begin to enjoy it today. We're no longer being robbed. Yes, we're interested who owns it. Why would you even privatize what you can control, what you can use?
No, it's always argued that government's hands are not always good in this kind of administration.
In this particular department, and even in petroleum, we have seen that government did better than the private sectors are doing. All right, like he said, they should have a platform where when you pay for meter, you pay for transformer, they should start deducting. Why should you even pay for these things in the first place when they say they can run this as a business?
The majority of Nigerians are not still metered. I don't know if the metered one are up to 10 or 20%. No, I don't have those figures.
No, it's not even the issue. Even those that have meter had to pay for these meters.
That's what we're saying.
Why should, okay, like telecommunication, they give free SIM card to people because they know you are coming to make calls or to send messages or to use data, and they are making profit out of it. Why should NEPA or whatever you call them, even like now you have a house, you build a house, because you don't have 200 and something thousand naira to pay them, they will not give you meter. That means you stay blank.
No, even when you pay for meter, most of the time, they don't. It's not what
they don't come immediately.
Just immediately get. We have National Electric Regulation, that's NEC, that governs them. In your final words, do they look as if they are well overseen and sanctioned when necessary?
You see, Nigeria case is a very pathetic state. It is only in Nigeria that when a government cede business to private sector, they regretted it. The business of government is to provide enabling
environment
for business to
thrive,
for businessmen to invest.
Yes.
But it's only in Nigeria that government will create the environment, they will give money to businessmen to invest.
Yes.
So whatever we are saying here, you see, when a businessman wants to go into a business, the objective is to make profit.
Yeah.
And for you to make profit, is for
you got to invest.
For you to render a quality service so that people will buy into your product. But what we have in ADEC, BDEC, and all the disco is the reverse is the case. You will be the one that will invest for them, and then you will be the one, they will not even give you services. They will even tax you or bill you for the poor service they render to you. So when you said it, when you ask whether are there no laws, there are laws. But do the law works in this country? It's because they realize that the law is toothless.
That's why they do what they do.
They do what they do. No, the law cannot.
In 30 seconds.
I think one of the major things that just crossed my mind in this aspect
30 seconds,
is corruption. I always say this here. I know, how do I mean? When people that handle government offices sell off government or public properties to their friends and people that are their partners, rather than giving a clear playing ground
for everybody to compete,
so that they can pick the best.
Yes.
This is the result of corruption. This is the result of patronizing your friends and relatives.
We have to leave it there. Corruption, lack of government sincerity in allocating these things has brought us to where we are.
Yes.
We'll be right back on this Insight.